There's an elimination just around the corner.
MasterChef is the show for talented home cooks. Imagine being in this gigantic LA warehouse where all the magic and drama take place. If the first season was charged with drama and dishes best reserved for Chef Ramsay's sarcastic wit, the second season tops that.
Are you ready?
Yes, chef.
Peppercorn crusted filet.
Have you ever been to France?
No.
French cookbooks? French restaurants?
No.
Okay.
Mark's peppercorn crusted filet sounded good up front, and why wouldn't it? Unfortunately, the peppercorn filet wasn't the star of the show. Paired with garlic mashed potatoes, this dish was supposed to be a hit.
Filet crusted and peppercorn, creamy rosemary, garlic mashed with a béarnaise sauce.
Which was a mistake.
You normally put béarnaise sauce on your steak?
French.
Not many French people I know.
But the critique didn't end there. Turns out that the mashed potatoes had more than just shallots, rosemary, and garlic.
Flour?
I had a little bit of starch because it was
Raw?
liquidy.
There's raw flour in here.
What?
Now, flour could well be Mark's capital offense in this dish. His intention was to thicken the dish. But Chef Gordon Ramsay just had to put on his chef's hat and say that
There are several things that you can never do in cooking, and adding flour to a liquid mashed potato is one of them.
thickening mashed potatoes with flour is sure to get you at the bottom of any list. Coffee-filled beignets with coffee chicory filling.
Things like this give what I personally do day in and day out a bad name.
A beignet literally translates to a bump. It's the French version of an English fritter, a pastry made from deep-fried choux pastry.
Eat it slow. Never gonna have your first beignet ever again.
Alvin's version is one made of
Coffee with chicory brewed pretty strong, mixed with sodium alginate. That's set to cool, and that's dropped into a calcium chloride bath.
but Gordon Ramsay wasn't exactly impressed.
It's extraordinarily bitter. There's like a coffee blood clot.
Everyone loved Alvin. In fact, Alvin had already started strong.
Alvin is amazing. So intelligent. He knows so much about food. I really think Alvin's going to be in the top 5.
But the judges had to decide on the bottom 3. The first dish that wasn't up to par was Jenny's coffee-infused tart. The second dish was
Almost to the point of being offensive.
Turns out, Alvin's dish seemed to have come on too strong. The third dish was poor in conceptualization and really rancid in its flavor. Jenny was saved only because there were 2 dishes which was worse than hers. Unfortunately, the absolute worst was Alvin's. Guess it pays to be conservative and humble, especially when faced with Michelin star chef judges.
I think you're courageous, but you must understand the basics before you become adventurous.
Fried catfish.
Oh, it's very nice. They light up the bridge. We had fried catfish.
When did you have fried catfish?
$250,000 and the chance to be known as a master chef can well be worth the stress and tears. By episode 9 of season 2, the judges have torn several home chefs to shreds and sent them home. Episode 9 had them doing something different. Today, they had to recreate a recipe from Whitney Miller's own cookbook. The twist?
It won't be easy. You will have to do it without a recipe.
The mechanics involved having last episode's winner choose 3 stunning dishes. The first choice was
Cranberry chipotle barbecue chicken with potato salad and grilled asparagus.
The second was shrimp and grit.
With andouille sausage and a roasted red pepper sauce and herb salad.
The third dish, the most amazing in our opinion, is a crispy catfish served with the fragrant purple slaw.
And then, stunning, beautiful sweet potato fries.
Everything had to be replicated, from the ingredients to the manner of cooking, down to the plating. One of the more notorious ones for this challenge was Adrian's dish. It simply had the wrong plating and the worst taste. If it had any, he seriously pushed restaurateur Joe Bastianich to the edge that it certainly felt like Adrian was a juvenile delinquent.
So obviously another contestant who refuses to follow direction. I don't really understand.
Christian's Lobster.
Bring in the dancing lobsters.
This episode had the contestants now down to 11. The Big Deal Challenge involved the biggest mystery box known to MasterChef history.
I see a bunch of vegetables, I see some puff pastry, some butter, but they've got a giant mystery box too. I mean, this thing is casket size.
Mystery boxes require that the chefs prepare, cook, and present one incredible dish using some or all of the ingredients inside of the box. Each contestant had the regular-sized mystery box that contained vegetables. The biggest box, which was to be shared among them, hid a surprise. What was in it? There are so many things you can do with lobster. The first challenge was to go and get one.
We're not just going to hand it to you. If you want a lobster, come up and get one.
The bigger they are, the tougher their meat gets. A 4-pound lobster can get rubbery fairly quick, so the contestants had to be creative.
I would do a fragrant lobster curry and cook that angel pasta and slice it up.
Christian's temper was starting to catch up with him.
Yeah, kidding me. Piece of plastic in my mixer thing.
Unfortunately, when you cook angry, it tends to come out in the food.
You went in thinking that you were going to be number one, but then things started to go awry.
Giuseppe's Eggs Benedict.
I did one of the worst dishes I could ever make in my life, and I can never forgive myself.
With the last episode seeing lobsters unleashing a contestant's aggression, things could only get more electrifying. Episode 12 brought in every contestant's worst critics, their mothers.
Our toughest critics, by far, trust me. If there's one lady in the world that can give me a dressing down, she's standing right by the side of me.
The blue team prepared a delicately plated pan-seared turbot with caramelized fennel. Unfortunately,
Gordon's mom doesn't like fish, and turbot reeks.
But when asked whose entrees she liked the most,
The fish was lovely. The blue team.
Well,
Thank you.
well.
Now for the pressure test. The objective was to create Eggs Benedict.
Yes!
Sorry, chef.
Making Eggs Benedict needs precision. You have to have crispy, warm bacon, eggs poached to perfection, and a warm, creamy hollandaise sauce.
This is about time management. You have
Exactly
30 minutes to get this done.
Unfortunately, Giuseppe's Eggs Benedict was a disaster. Giuseppe's passion was extraordinary and was at the receiving end of Chef Gordon Ramsay's compliments.
Do not ever go back to selling granite.
Ground pork patty with sauerkraut.
My advantage is pick my cut and then piss everyone else off.
The challenge for episode 13 was to create a pork dish with the choice pork cut assigned to them.
I would be nominating the most difficult cuts to get rid of your competition.
Adrian got to select among 9 cuts of pork. For himself, he chose double-cut pork chops, cheeks for Christian, pork belly for Susie, ground pork for Jennifer, pork butt for Ben, a boneless center-cut pork loin for Alejandra, and St. Louis-style ribs for Derek. With 1 hour on the clock, it was time under tremendous pressure.
The 1 hour time limitation certainly is the trickiest part of this thing.
One of the more notorious moments in the season is Jennifer's ground pork patty.
What the hell were you thinking?
It's what I grew up with.
Is that what you grew up with? Then this should be mind-blowing.
But Jennifer already had tears welling up in her eyes when... And as if that were not enough,
If you're gonna serve us crap like that, then you're really wasting our time.
by this time, the judges have upped the ante and are now treating the contestants like chefs who have trained for years.
This is the bottom as far as my cooking, and it's embarrassing. I'm a better cook. I'm smarter than that.
Tomato soup and grilled cheese.
Really went for that scare. He looks like someone out of The Omen.
Come on, I was a cute little guy. Look at that.
With 8 cooks remaining, the pressure was really on. Jennifer got to choose from the 3 judges' childhood favorite dishes. Joe's was pizza, Graham's was mac and cheese, Gordon's was tomato soup with grilled cheese. She chose what seemed to be like a simple dish to make.
Tomato soup and grilled cheese.
Each of the contestants was given a chance to give their own spin to this classic in just 45 minutes.
The longer you have for soup, the better. Just for those flavors to intermingle with one another. In 45 minutes, it's not a lot of time.
The best dish went to Susie's. Chef Ramsay was impressed with how she updated her tomato soup with bourbon. And her roasted tomato was absolutely brilliant.
Well done. Good choice.
Yeah.
As for Christine, she made hers into an heirloom tomato soup with goat and provolone grilled cheese. But the combination did not feel right for Gordon.
The combination doesn't work together, and it's sort of marred by the vinegar outburst. It's just blowing.
Chef Graham thought that the texture was better reserved for baby food, and her grilled cheese was too oily. For Joe Bastianich, goat cheese in a grilled cheese sandwich smelled vile.
Okay.
That's okay?
No, it's not okay. I'm just listening to you.
The Salmon Test.
One of the most expensive ingredients, the salmon, the king salmon. Look at
The
it.
top 6 were taken to Patina's restaurant in Los Angeles. The order of the evening? Run a dinner service. Tracy had selected Adrian and Jennifer to form the blue team, while Christian and Ben were with Susie on the red team. The red team won despite glitches in the kitchen.
It's gonna be tough to see one of them 3 leave, but hey, everybody has to leave at some point.
Tracy, Adrian, and Jennifer had to face off with a salmon dish. The challenge was to fillet and debone a whole salmon and cut it into at least 10 portions. Chef Gordon Ramsay demonstrated filleting, and he made it seem like child's play.
Do not be fooled. It is not that easy.
So, how to cook the perfect salmon?
I cook my salmon 95% on the skin, and then 2 minutes before I serve it, I sear it on top so it's pink.
Just think how stressful it must be to have the world's best chef breathing down your neck while filleting an expensive king salmon. It certainly isn't easy to watch.
It almost seems that they're so caught up in portioning, they forgot to cook.
We need to see some cooking happening.
Yeah.
At 7 minutes, they could only cook 1 piece of salmon. Unfortunately, Tracy's portion was too big, and hers ended raw, plus her salmon carcass had a lot of meat left. A no-no for something this expensive.
This has been the most difficult pressure test so far in this competition.
Botched venison.
I've made a colossal, unforgivable error.
So now they're down to 5, and everyone is certain that they can grab the MasterChef title. In the Mystery Box Challenge, the contestants were given 3 kinds of ground meat as the main ingredient.
It's finally won a Mystery Box Challenge! Ben Star!
For the Elimination Challenge, Ben was to cook a mystery guest signature dish. This chef was none other than...
Hi Ben, I'm Gordon Ramsay.
The 3 dishes were pan-roasted fillet of halibut with crab, roasted duck breast with honey-glazed baby onions, and roasted loin of venison. Ben got to pick one of Gordon Ramsay's signature recipes for everyone to make.
I want to cook the venison tenderloin.
Smart move, very smart move.
He also had the opportunity to ask Gordon 3 questions about the dish.
Is there an element of dairy in the parsnip puree?
A couple of tablespoons of milk as it's cooked.
Unfortunately, the Mystery Box prize cost Ben a shot at becoming the Master Chef. How did the man with the huge advantage squander his chance? It was a lovely cut that had gone to waste. Chef Ramsay thought it was so overcooked and the sauce overpowering. The main ingredient had been destroyed. Ben knew this colossal mistake admitted defeat.
You've annihilated it, and it's just... I could cry.
I'm about to.
A Thanksgiving meal served with a dash of animosity.
We think that you from the American MasterChef are the best home cooks in the world. We want to show you off.
The 18th episode saw the remaining 4 divided into 2 teams. They were tasked to cook a dish for the judges, who were joined by 3 other judges from international versions of MasterChef. Since Susie was the last Elimination Challenge winner, she had the opportunity to choose her teammate.
Christian.
Wow.
But this choice was her downfall.
The other team's already cooking, and Christian and I are literally standing in the pantry discussing the concept of our dish.
As the judges were watching both teams, observations were made on their behaviors.
More importantly, they have that synergy. They sort of understand each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they're playing off it.
The red team settled on a Thanksgiving dinner dish with raspberry coulis and caramelized fennel.
Why Thanksgiving?
You're with your loved ones, and I think it's very much of American culture.
Christian looked like he was about to cry. Joe was blunt enough to say that the animosity and the lack of harmony showed up in the dish.
Your embarrassment should have manifested itself in intervention at the time when you could have made a difference.
As for the blue team, who made prawns with lobster, corn, and avocado, one judge found it
mushy. It lacks texture for me.
What a mess! Those were some of the worst dishes on MasterChef Season 2. If you want to see more videos like this, click or tap that subscribe button, and in order to become a trusted Babble Topper, be sure to ding the bell to get notified whenever we upload a new video. Thanks for watching!